Your family needs you, son.
Whole Jackson family's crooked. They ain't ranchers.
I need you ready for the hard parts when they come.
The future of Dutton Ranch is hanging by a thread, and the person everyone feared would destroy it may have finally taken control. After years of fighting for power, Rob Will has finally gotten what he wanted. But now that the ranch is in his hands, the biggest question remains. Can he handle the responsibility, or will his choices destroy everything Bula spent her entire life protecting? Episode 7 changed everything. Bula's shocking collapse, Rob Will's unexpected return, and the decision that handed him control of the ranch have created a dangerous situation nobody saw coming. Rob Will believes he has won, but he doesn't realize that taking power is much easier than keeping it. And with Beth, Rip, and Waqen watching his every move, his biggest battle may just be beginning. In Episode 8, the consequences of Rob Will's actions could finally come crashing down. The ranch is no longer controlled by the person who understands its history and sacrifices. Instead, it is now in the hands of someone who has spent years chasing approval, revenge, and power. But when emotions start controlling his decisions, Rob Will could make mistakes that put everything at risk. Episode 8 begins with a completely different Dutton Ranch. For years, everyone believed Rob Will was fighting for his place because he wanted to prove himself. He wanted to show Bula that he was capable. He wanted Waqen to stop looking down on him. He wanted everyone to see him as the rightful person to lead the ranch. But now that moment has finally arrived, and the reality may be much harder than he imagined. The biggest twist from Episode 7 was not just Rob Will becoming Bula's successor. The real shock was understanding how he forced that decision to happen. Bula did not choose him because she suddenly believed he was ready. She made that choice because she feared what Rob Will might do if she gave the ranch to Waqen. She was protecting the people she cared about, but in doing so, she may have created the biggest threat the ranch has ever faced. Rob Will has always believed that people underestimated him. He has carried anger for years, feeling like everyone around him saw him as a failure. But instead of using that pain to become better, he allowed it to control him. Now, with the ranch finally under his name, that anger could become even stronger. The problem with Rob Will is that he understands power, but he does not understand leadership. Running a ranch like this is not about making people fear you. It is not about proving that you are in charge. It is about making difficult decisions, protecting your people, and thinking about the future. Those are lessons Waqen learned through years of sacrifice, but Rob Will has never truly experienced them. That is why Episode 8 could show Rob Will making his first major mistake as the new leader. He may try to change things immediately. He may believe that because he has the title, everyone must follow his orders. But the people who have spent their lives protecting the ranch will not accept someone destroying everything they built. Waqen's position will be especially difficult. For years, he has been the person keeping everything together. He fixed problems before they became disasters. He cleaned up Rob Will's mistakes. He protected Bula even when nobody recognized his efforts. But now, he has to stand back and watch the person he never trusted take control. That could become the biggest test Waqen has ever faced. He knows Rob Will is dangerous, but he also knows that fighting against him immediately could make things worse. If he challenges Rob Will too soon, it may look like jealousy or betrayal. But if he stays silent for too long, the damage could become impossible to repair. The relationship between Bula and Rob Will also become more complicated after her collapse. If Bula survives, she may finally be forced to accept something she has avoided for years. She cannot protect Rob Will forever. She cannot continue fixing his mistakes. At some point, he has to face the consequences of his own choices. Bula's entire life has been about protecting the ranch and her family, but Episode 8 may reveal that protecting someone too much can sometimes hurt them. By giving Rob Will everything he wanted, she may have removed the last thing stopping him from making dangerous decisions. Meanwhile, Beth and Rip are still watching from the outside. They know Rob Will better than most people. They have seen his anger, his selfish choices, and the damage he can cause. They also know that the ranch cannot survive another person making reckless decisions. Rip especially has every reason to distrust him. After everything Rob Will has done, including leaving problems behind for others to clean up, Rip knows that giving him control could lead to disaster. Rip is not someone who waits around when the people he cares about are threatened. If Rob Will crosses the wrong line, Rip may become the biggest obstacle standing in his way. But the question is whether Rip and Beth will act before it is too late. Because Rob Will's biggest mistake may be believing that winning the ranch means he has won the war. He does not realize that the ranch is not just land. It is history, loyalty, and family. And those things cannot be controlled with a title. Episode 8 could be the moment when Rob Will discovers that power comes with consequences. The same people he wanted to impress may become the people who finally expose him. The same ranch he fought to control may become the thing that destroys him. And as Bula fights to recover, everyone will be watching Rob Will's next move, because one wrong decision could change the future of Dutton Ranch forever. The biggest question heading into Episode 8 is what happens after Bula suddenly collapses in front of everyone. For someone like Bula, a woman who has always appeared unstoppable, seeing her fall to the ground was a shocking reminder that even the strongest people have limits. She spent years controlling every situation, protecting the ranch, and making decisions that shaped everyone's future. But now, for the first time, the people around her may have to continue without her guidance. Bula's collapse could become the turning point that changes everything at Dutton Ranch. While everyone is focused on Rob Will taking control, the real danger may be that the person who always kept the balance is no longer able to stop the chaos. Bula was the one person who could control Rob Will's emotions, calm conflicts, and keep the ranch moving forward. Without her presence, Rob Will may feel completely free to make whatever choices he wants. And that is exactly what worries everyone. Rob Will has spent years feeling like he was pushed aside. He believed that Bula never trusted him enough, that Waqen received more respect, and that everyone saw him as the weakest link. Now that he finally has authority, he may try to prove that every person who doubted him was wrong. But instead of showing maturity, his desire to prove himself could push him toward dangerous decisions. The problem is that Rob Will does not understand why people respected Bula. They did not follow her because she had power. They followed her because she earned their loyalty. She understood the sacrifices needed to protect the ranch. She knew when to fight and when to step back. She knew that every decision affected real people. Rob Will may believe leadership means having the final word. But Episode 8 could show him learning that leadership means carrying the weight of every consequence. While Rob Will celebrates his victory, Waqen will likely be dealing with the harsh reality of what comes next. He knows the ranch better than anyone. He understands the business, the people, and the problems waiting beneath the surface. But now he is trapped in a difficult position. If he challenges Rob Will, he risks creating a family war at the worst possible moment. But if he stays quiet, he could watch everything Bula built slowly fall apart. For Waqen, this is not just about losing control of the ranch. It is about watching someone who may not be ready take responsibility for something far bigger than himself. He spent years proving his loyalty, and now he has to watch Rob Will receive the position he always wanted. That could create a powerful emotional conflict in Episode 8. Waqen may not hate Rob Will, but he may finally stop protecting him. For years, he covered up his mistakes and helped repair the damage he caused. But this time, the consequences may be too serious to ignore. The biggest question is whether Waqen will continue following Bula's decision or finally stand against Rob Will. Because there is one thing Rob Will may not understand. The people at Dutton Ranch are loyal to Bula, not necessarily to him. The moment he starts making choices that threaten the ranch, that loyalty could disappear. Meanwhile, Bula's recovery could reveal more about her relationship with Rob Will. Episode 7 gave viewers a deeper look into Bula's painful past and showed that her connection with Rob Will is much more complicated than anyone realized. For years, Bula may have carried guilt about Rob Will. She may have believed that she failed him in some way. She may have tried to give him opportunities because she wanted to fix the mistakes of the past. But giving someone power does not always heal old wounds. Sometimes it exposes them. Rob Will has always wanted recognition from Bula, but what happens when he finally gets everything he wanted and still feels empty? That could be the emotional reason behind his future mistakes. The ranch may not actually be what he has been searching for. He may have spent his entire life trying to win approval that he never truly received. And now, instead of finding peace, he could create more destruction. This is where Beth and Rip become extremely important. They have always been able to see through people's lies, and Rob will not be able to hide his true intentions from them for long. Beth especially understands what happens when someone dangerous gains control. She has watched her family fight too many battles to allow another person to destroy everything. Rip, on the other hand, will be watching carefully. He is not interested in politics or power struggles. He cares about protecting the people he considers family. If Rob Will becomes a threat to the ranch, Rip will not hesitate to act. But Episode 8 may not show an immediate fight. The writers could build the tension slowly, showing Rob Will making smaller mistakes before everything explodes. A bad decision here, a careless move there, and suddenly, the entire ranch could be facing a crisis. That would make Rob Will's downfall much more powerful because he would not lose control because of one mistake. He would lose control because his own personality prevented him from being the leader he wanted to become. The tragedy is that Rob Will finally achieved the one thing he spent his entire life chasing. But instead of bringing him respect, it may reveal why everyone was afraid of giving him that power. As Bula remains away from the center of the ranch, everyone will be waiting to see if Rob Will can prove them wrong. But deep down, many people already know the truth. The hardest part of leading Dutton Ranch was never getting the position. The hardest part was being worthy of it. Rob Will has finally reached the moment he has been waiting for his entire life. The ranch is no longer just something he wanted to inherit. It is now something he has to control. But Episode 8 may reveal the biggest difference between wanting power and actually being prepared for it. For years, Rob Will believed that if he had the authority, everything else would fall into place. He thought people would respect him once he had the title. He thought Waqen would finally have to accept him. He thought Bula's approval would finally prove that he was important. But now that he has the responsibility, he may discover that power does not erase weaknesses. It only makes them more visible. The first challenge Rob will face is gaining the trust of the people at Dutton Ranch. These are not people who blindly follow orders. They have spent years working under Bula's leadership, and they understand what it takes to protect the ranch. They have seen victories, losses, sacrifices, and betrayals. To them, Rob Will is not a proven leader. He is someone who has spent years creating problems and expecting others to solve them. That is why Episode 8 could show Rob Will trying too hard to prove himself. Instead of listening to the people around him, he may make decisions based on pride. He may believe that changing things quickly will show everyone that he is different. But the ranch is not a place where emotions can control decisions. Every choice matters. Every mistake has consequences. And Rob Will may learn that the hard way. One of his biggest problems has always been his need for control. When things do not go his way, he reacts emotionally. He does not think about the long-term consequences. He thinks about what will make him feel powerful in that moment. That personality trait could become dangerous now that he is in charge. A leader cannot make decisions because of anger. A leader cannot punish people because they disagree. A leader cannot destroy relationships just to prove that they are right. But those are exactly the mistakes Rob Will may begin making. He could start pushing away the people who are actually trying to help him. Waqen may try to give advice, but Rob Will may see it as an attack. Beth may question his choices, but he may interpret it as disrespect. Rip may warn him about the consequences, but Rob Will may believe Rip is trying to take his power away. The more people try to protect the ranch, the more Rob Will may feel like they are standing against him. And that could become his biggest downfall. Meanwhile, the absence of Bula creates a dangerous opportunity. Before her collapse, she was the one person who could stop conflicts before they became serious. She could control Rob Will when his emotions became too strong. She could make difficult choices when everyone else was divided. But now, the ranch has lost its strongest voice. This creates a power struggle that has been building for a long time. Waqen believes the ranch needs stability. Rob Will believes the ranch needs change. Both of them may think they are protecting Bula's legacy, but they have completely different ideas about what that means. For Waqen, protecting the ranch means preserving what works. For Rob Will, protecting the ranch may mean proving that he is finally in control. Those two beliefs cannot survive together forever. Eventually, something will have to break. And that breaking point could come when Rob Will makes a decision that affects everyone at the ranch. It may not be a huge mistake at first. It could be a business choice, a personal decision, or a move against someone he believes is challenging him. But small mistakes can become disasters when the wrong person is in charge. This is where Beth and Rip could become the biggest threat to Rob Will's leadership. They are not interested in taking power from him. They are interested in preventing him from destroying what Bula built. Beth especially knows how dangerous family conflicts can become. She has spent her entire life watching people fight for control, and she understands that the biggest threats often come from inside the family. She may be one of the first people to recognize that Rob Will is not simply making mistakes. He is repeating the same patterns that have caused problems for years. The question is whether she will confront him directly or wait until he makes a mistake big enough that everyone finally sees the truth. Rip will likely take a different approach. He does not waste time arguing with people who refuse to listen. He watches, he waits, he allows people to reveal who they really are, and Rob Will may eventually reveal exactly that. The biggest danger for Rob Will is not Beth or Rip. It is his own confidence. After forcing Bula into giving him control, he may believe that nobody can stop him anymore. He may think winning this battle means he has already won the war, but he has forgotten one important thing. The Dutton Ranch has survived because of loyalty, not fear. People stayed because they believed in the mission. They protected the land because it represented something bigger than themselves. They fought because they knew what was at stake. Rob Will may have the title, but he does not have that connection yet. And without it, he may discover that controlling the ranch is impossible. Episode 8 could be the beginning of Rob Will's biggest downfall. Not because someone takes power away from him, but because his own choices slowly destroy the trust he needs to lead. The ranch may have accepted him as the new leader, but earning their respect will be a completely different battle. And if Rob Will fails, the consequences will not only affect him. They could change the future of everyone connected to Dutton Ranch. While Rob Will believes he has finally secured his future at Dutton Ranch, he may not realize that the most dangerous challenge is not coming from outside enemies. It is coming from the people closest to him. Beth and Rip have watched everything unfold, and they understand something Rob Will does not. A ranch can survive a lot of things. It can survive bad seasons, financial problems, and outside threats. But it is much harder to survive someone inside the family making decisions that put everything at risk. That is why Episode 8 could focus heavily on Beth and Rip's reaction to Rob Will taking control. They are not surprised that he wanted power. They have known that for a long time. What concerns them is what he will do now that he finally has it. Beth has always been someone who sees the truth before everyone else. She does not care about appearances or excuses. She looks at people's actions and judges them by what they actually do. And when it comes to Rob Will, she has already seen enough. She knows his biggest weakness is not his ambition. Ambition can be useful. It can push people to become stronger. The problem is that Rob Will allows his emotions to control his decisions. His need to prove himself has always been stronger than his ability to think clearly. Now that he is running the ranch, that weakness could become dangerous. Beth understands that the ranch is more than just land. It represents generations of sacrifice. Every person who protected it made difficult choices to keep it alive. That is why she will not allow someone to destroy it simply because they want to feel powerful. But Beth also knows that confronting Rob Will immediately could create a bigger problem. If she attacks him too soon, he may become even more defensive. He may see everyone around him as enemies and start making decisions based on revenge. So instead, Beth may watch carefully. She may wait. She may allow Rob Will to reveal himself. Because eventually, people show who they really are when they have power. Rip will likely have a similar mindset. He has never been someone who reacts without thinking. His loyalty is strong, but his patience is even stronger. He knows when to move and when to wait. But Rob Will is different from the enemies Rip has faced before. This is not a stranger threatening the ranch. This is someone connected to the family, someone who shares history with the people Rip cares about. That makes the situation much more complicated. Rip may not want to fight Rob Will, but he will not hesitate if the ranch or his family is threatened. The biggest question is what happens when Rob Will crosses the line.